Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social, delighted to be joined here today by Adam Smith, Sky Sports Head of Boxing. We're here at the Anthony Joshua Jerome Miller London press conference. How are you, Adam?
I'm very good, Rob, very good indeed. Got over the sort of quick trip to New York and back on even keel. Delighted to have Jerome Miller over and obviously AJ as ever. We've got the press conference here, then we're back to Sky to do a whole load of promotional filming and yeah, listen, it's a massive event in June and it's one we can't wait for.
Talk to me a little bit about that New York press conference. Quite spicy between the two men, not a side of AJ that we're customary to seeing. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was very much on the charm offensive in the morning. We were at the stock exchange. It was an amazing occasion to see him, you know, opening the markets, ringing the bell, and you know, I think he arrived at the press conference and literally got, you know, shoved and pushed and was irritable. You know, you saw the fighter come out of AJ. We've seen it a little bit before with Dillian Whyte, but I think it was revved up somewhat. I think that, you know, he didn't appreciate basically what Miller was saying, and you know, he sort of held his ground. You know, ruffled and unlike him, but you know, he's a fighter first and foremost. And I think Jerome went too far at times, but you know, that was obviously the ploy to get under his skin, and you know, he wants Joshua to engage in a fire fest on June the 1st to give him that chance. He's obviously a big underdog, Miller, and to give him that chance of, you know, trying to sort of take him out of his comfort zone, take him out of his boxing skill set, and you know, Joshua's got to keep firm and do things as he always does, you know, technically and professionally, and I'm sure he will.
That's something that we've spoken about in the past, of your preference if you were of having fights over here, you know, Sky Sports box office 10 o'clock. There's the fact that the first press conference has gone to New York. Is that an indicator of kind of the priorities, if you will, for the fight?
I don't think so. I think, look, it's at the Garden, it's at Madison Square Garden, it's the Mecca of boxing. I think the first press conference had to be there. It's Anthony Joshua in New York, and I think that's the big story. But have you know, no doubt that this is a huge fight here for us. It's going to be at a massive card in the early hours of the morning. We're going to start it early. Huge card building up to the big event. Yes, we'd have loved to have had Joshua and Whyte at Wembley, but we know, we've been over that now. We know that the reason that didn't happen was because, you know, Dillian didn't accept the money and time ran out, and ultimately Joshua had to make a decision. They got Miller onto the table, and I think it's great. You know, we launch a whole new adventure with Anthony Joshua. We've been with him since 2013, since he turned over. We're with him every step of the way, and we'll be with him as he tries to conquer in America, not just Jerome Miller, but beyond that, and the big fights with the likes of Fury, Wilder, and so forth. So I think it's an exciting event. It's something different, and it's one we're right behind.
How much, or if at all, are you expecting the fact that it is New York and not over here to impact on pay-per-views?
Well, obviously, you know, it's early hours of the morning, it's not 10 o'clock at night, so, you know, you've got to take that into consideration, and that obviously will be a factor. But I do think that, you know, you look at the big events that have happened through Sky boxing history, and the likes of, you know, your Lennox Lewis and Holyfields, and, you know, Mike Tyson, and fights with Riddick Bowe, and then, you know, moving forward to our guys like Ricky Hatton going over to fight, you know, a number of big names in the States, not just Mayweather, but Collazo and you know, and others. And I think that, you know, Prince Nassim Hamed fighting Kevin Kelly, there's been many examples of fights through the night. So, no, it's just another big one to look forward to. I mean, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Mayweather, McGregor did enormous numbers. So I'm sure it will do well. And I'm sure a lot of fight fans who won't be travelling will have the chance to enjoy it on Sky Sports box office, all the build-up and everything, and then the fun of the fair. And we'll deliver a world-class show, and hopefully we'll get a world-class fight. And listen, it's world heavyweight boxing. Jerome Miller's got the chance of a lifetime. He's undefeated. He's got nothing to lose. You know, he's a hard man from the streets of Brooklyn. Anthony's got to go in there and do what he does best, which is deliver a performance that is worthy of being the #1 heavyweight on the planet.
Just final word on the New York press conference. So Jerome Miller had a few things to say that didn't actually make the Sky broadcast about therapeutic usage exemptions in sport, so doping essentially. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, look, you know, we're a broadcast company, and we have to take into consideration everything that goes on. We make decisions about that, and look, you know, we know bad language and other You know, other stuff will occur at these press conferences. Look, it's, you know, they're fighters, and things are going to sometimes, you know, spill over. But there are rules and regulations. There's Ofcom, there's broadcast policy, and we make sure that we get that absolutely right for Sky.
Can we read anything into the comments by Jerome Miller? There were some quite heavy accusations in there.
I think, you know, Jerome Miller's going to say what he says. You know, he's. I've wanted Jerome to come over and do some commentary with us before, and, you know, then he's gone and done stuff on social media which, you know, has harmed that, shall we say, and we've talked about it. And I said to the team before the press conference in New York, I said, you know, just be careful, and, you know, look, they'll set their own agenda, and we'll deal with it. Obviously, we've got gloves are off and other things that we've got to take into consideration here, and we'll make sure that they're good broadcasts for. You know, we've got a family audiences, haven't we, on Sky? You know, let's not forget that. Yes, there's watershed. Yes, there's lines where we can, you know, show things on demand as well. But we have to care for our audiences. Our customers are first and foremost, and that will always be the case. You know, I was here a few years back when Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko had that press conference, and it was fun and games with Batman. It was different, you know. But we, you know, there's certain things that were said in New York that you know, we had to deal with.
Moving away from Joshua Miller, we've recently seen the announcement of Tyson Fury's deal with ESPN. Just your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great deal for Tyson Fury. If he's going to get that sort of money, why not? You know, it's a great time for fighters, isn't it? You know, they're getting paid huge amounts to be stateside. We've got to make sure that we continue to deliver excellent British shows here. March the 20th and March the 30th, 23rd, sorry, March the 30th are evidence of that. But yeah, it's a really interesting deal. It throws it open again. The heavyweight landscape is political, to say the least. What's going to happen with Deontay Wilder? Will he be tempted to ESPN? Will he stick with Showtime? I don't know what the deal is there. I'm sure Stephen Espinoza will want him on Showtime for a good long period in the foreseeable future. I don't know what the contracts are like. That's not my area, because obviously it's between Showtime and Deontay. Whether Deontay will fight on Showtime, whether he'll fight on ESPN, and they can make the Fury fight on ESPN. But he's dug his feet into the sand. Fury says, I'm going to fight on ESPN, just like Anthony Joshua's done with Sky. So we wait to see what Deontay Wilder's move is. We hope that these fights are not further away, that they will be made. But for the moment, what we do know is made is AJ Miller on June the 1st. And so we can all get excited about that.
I mean, political red tape is kind of part and parcel of the sport. But in your position, working for a network, are you open to be working with the likes of ESPN, BT Sport? Are you, from your point of view, are you happy to work with these guys?
From my point of view, we want to see the best fights made and the best fights on Sky. That's crucial for us. We are in the Sky business, and we want to make sure that Anthony Joshua's fights, as they have been from the word go, will all be on Sky, as they will be when we've extended the deal until back end of 2021. You know, we've got AJ. We're in partnership with him. We want to see him in the best fights. We've worked with Tyson Fury, we've worked with Deontay Wilder, and had some great times with both of them. We want to see them again. We'd love to have Wilder and Fury on Sky. As I said to everybody, we cannot have every sweet in the jar. You know, Eubank De Gale was on ITV Box Office on Saturday night. Did I watch it? Of course I'll watch it. Will I watch Wilder and Fury again? Of course. Will we talk about it? Of course we will. But if we can make AJ and Wilder at the back end of the year, for example, fantastic. We can make AJ and Fury within the next year or two, fantastic. We will do what's right for Sky, and I think AJ knows that.
What do you think the likelihood of either of those fights happening are? I appreciate you don't have a crystal ball, and I do believe that this has complicated the landscape a little bit more. But Wilder being with Showtime, Tyson Fury going to Top Rank and ESPN, what are the likelihoods of either of those two fighting Anthony Joshua, for example, in September?
I think it's more likely Wilder. I think AJ wants to fight Deontay Wilder because he wants to unify the titles. That's always been the aim. Depends what Deontay Wilder wants to do. Does he want to pop along on June the 1st, watch AJ Miller, and then take on the winner at the back end of the year? That can be done. Or is he going to want the rematch with Fury, which I'd understand as well, because that was a huge fight the first time around, and there's unfinished business there. So I think AJ Wilder's more likely, but it might not happen, and it might not happen for 12, 18 months, who knows. I'd like to see one of Wilder Fury against Joshua within the next 6 to 12 months, and then hopefully the other 12 to 18 months from now. You want to see both of them happen, but I do think there's unfinished business with Wilder and Fury, so we'll see. But I think there is a possibility of AJ Wilder happening this year. AJ Fury probably harder with the ESPN and DAZN issues, but anything can be made with money. The fighters are willing for it. I know that Tyson Fury wants to fight anybody. I know that Deontay Wilder wants to fight anybody. And I know that Anthony Joshua wants to fight anybody. That's a good starting block. Okay, broadcasters can talk. You know, Mayweather-Pacquiao happened, didn't it? You know, we did AJ and Klitschko and Showtime and HBO both covered it. So, you know, there are always room for discussion and talks, but there's no doubt that Anthony Joshua is a Sky Sports box office fighter, and that's where we want to see him.
Just final question on that. With DAZN and ESPN, we've alluded to it throughout this interview, does that kind of complicate things on your end? You and DAZN, I'm assuming, have to be on the same, sort of, you being Sky, not you personally, have to be on the same wavelength, as it were, when making these cross-promotional fights?
Well, at the moment, yeah, we're taking a great deal of DAZN coverage, and likewise they're taking a lot of ours, but we're doing Kroller and Lomachenko, which is an ESPN fight in April. You know, there's always talk of cross-promotional business. You know, we did Canelo and Jacobs. You know, that was a Golden Boy promotion, not a Matchroom one. And you know, we're doing Canelo and Fielding, Canelo and Jacobs in May, and that's, you know, that's Matchroom, that's Golden Boy, that's DAZN, that's us. You know, there are definitely room for discussions. But let's not make any doubt about it. Anthony Joshua is fighting on Sky, and he's fighting on Sky for a long, long time. He wants it. He loves our partnership. He loves our relationship. So that's crucial to any negotiation we have going forward. But obviously DAZN are covering him now, and they're making big waves on the American scene. So who knows? Can they tempt Deontay Wilder? It would look unlikely for Fury at the moment, seeing he's nailed his master ESPN. But as Joe Markowski and the others have said on DAZN, you know, they'll talk with ESPN. They've got a good relationship, and it's a competitive relationship. But let's see what happens. It's all out there. But I think the fighters are the ones that are going to benefit, and quite rightly so. They're the ones getting in the ring and risking their legacy, their lives, their careers, and they're the ones that should always be remembered in all of this. But getting back to it, AJ Miller, June the 1st, on Sky Sports box office, and we're delighted and we can't wait.
Promise this is the last one. You actually reminded me of something that I read. Anthony Joshua was due to appear on ESPN in New York. That didn't happen. Now ESPN have released a statement saying that it was cancelled at the last minute, and I think their impression was that there didn't want to be any cross-promotion between ESPN and DAZN and vice versa. That can't be good for the sport, right? You'll
have to ask Anthony, his team, and also DAZN about that. I wasn't in New York for that. I was in New York for the press conference, so I don't know. But as far as Joe and Eddie and others have talked, that they're open for discussions with ESPN. I don't know why that happened, but you know, he is obviously fighting on DAZN and on Sky Sports box office on June the 1st, and that's what we know is happening. So everything else is speculation. But you know, we've been here so many times before. You know, it took Mayweather-Pacquiao years to be made. They could have had 3. You know, Lewis and Bo never entered a ring. You know, it took so long for Lewis and Tyson to ever get together, and probably past Tyson's sell-by date, and that was a shame. So what we want to make sure happens is that Joshua, Wilder and Fury fight when they're still at the peak of their powers. That's important, but it's as important to the fighters as it is to any of us. So that's good to know. It's just everybody's got to take a little bit of a step back and say, look, we've had big fights. We've had AJ Klitschko, we've had AJ Parker unified last year, AJ Povetkin, we've had Wilder Fury, we're getting AJ Miller. No doubt, the fights are happening. You know, we just have to be a little bit patient. But I'm sure we will get super fights with the 3 of them happening within the next 12 to 24 months. I think they'll all fight each other, and we'll find out who the number 1 is. But we're in the Anthony Joshua business, so we think that Anthony will come through. Who knows? Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have done terrifically well. They've got an argument of being the leading heavyweight in the world, but Anthony Joshua's got 4 of the belts. He's undefeated in 22, and for me, he's the number 1.
Okay, well, Adam Swift, as always, it's a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
No problem, Rob.